This is Caleb and Sophia. If you're unfamiliar, it's propaganda released by Jehovah's Witnesses intended to indoctrinate kids into their religion. They just released a new episode the other day, so I figured we'd take a look and see what they're up to. This is one of their very first episodes.
What toy is that?
It's Sparlock, the warrior wizard.
Whoa, a warrior wizard. Who likes magic? Jehovah or Satan?
Satan.
Right. Magic is bad. That's why Jehovah hates it. Do you want Jehovah to be sad?
No. I don't want Jehovah to be sad with me.
No, I don't want Jehovah to be sad with you either. Caleb, I am so proud of you. You made Mommy very happy. And you know who else is happy?
Jehovah.
Yes. Jehovah loves you very much for obeying him, Caleb.
Obviously, the only purpose for this show's existence is to pressure kids into living a life that's perfectly in line with what Jehovah's Witnesses want, rather than what's best for them. Throwing away a toy that you borrowed from a kid from school is not a good way to make friends, but that works in Jehovah's Witnesses' favor too. You aren't supposed to be friends with outsiders. I grew up Jehovah's Witness, and it did untold amounts of damage to me socially. But believe me, the backwards lessons that come from Caleb and Sophia don't stop there. Let's take a look at the latest one. Let's get into it. The latest one is called, Why Obey God If We Can't See Him? That's a good question. A better question would be, why obey these people who claim to speak for God if we have no way to verify that they actually do speak for him? But I assume that question is a little too on the nose for Jehovah's Witnesses governing body members. This episode starts out with Sophia being faced with a dilemma. Should she cheat on a test? This is a callback to another episode, so let's watch the section from the other episode first, and then we'll watch the new one. The original episode is called Make Jehovah Happy, and it starts out showing what Caleb and Sophia desire the most. It starts out with Caleb's temptation. He just wants to have fun.
Our text this morning, Proverbs 27:11. Do you remember what that says?
Oh yeah, it says, "Be wise, my son, and make my heart rejoice."
Later, they explain that he wants to play video games every now and then. Jehovah's Witnesses think he should be putting all his time into studying the watchtowers and worshiping Jehovah. They show Sophia's temptation next. Check it out.
"Be wise, my son, and make my heart rejoice."
Good memory, Sophia. That scripture is talking about you. What you do every day, not only big things, but also small things you do, can make his heart rejoice.
Any random person off the street would see this section and think they're encouraging Sophia to perform better in school, right? No. The problem is that she cares about school too much. Jehovah's Witnesses have a deep-seated problem with kids getting college educations. It's a waste of time in their eyes. They should become window washers. When Armageddon comes, which will happen any 5 minutes now, the college education will be useless to them. This is Tony Morris, governing body member, laying it on the line. I wouldn't normally bother making this point so thoroughly, but some people don't believe me when I say Jehovah's Witnesses are opposed to college education, so let's hear it straight from their mouths.
With schools of higher education, in many of their curriculums, and if you know anything about it, maybe some of you have been, do they not have Philosophy 1 and Philosophy 2? It doesn't matter what you're going to major in. And then all of a sudden it gets in there, and the intellectual gripping of the mind, very hard to recover from. I've seen this so many times, and we could tell you so many horror stories, and the parents are all distraught. Why didn't you do more for my son? Why didn't you do more for my daughter? I would say, who dropped them off? The elders are heartbroken. They try. Know a lot of them personally. So you have to decide that. You want to take the risk? Your call. We're warning you.
I think that made my point for me. Not that I needed it, but I like to go the extra mile. Jehovah's Witnesses do not like college education. It's not a mandate. If you go to college, you won't be disfellowshipped. You won't lose every friend and family member you've ever known and loved, like they do if you smoke a cigarette. But they'll stop trusting you. They'll stop hanging around as much. They'll question whether or not you're serious about the religion. And that in itself destroys relationships. You aren't making Jehovah happy, and that means something must be wrong. So anyways, in this Caleb and Sophia video, they're showing Caleb's temptation. It appears to be playing games with friends at school at first glance, but it gets deeper than that. Check this out.
Hey, Caleb, you want to play? Come on, it's fun.
When I was a young Jehovah's Witness in school, the things I was expected to do, the way I was expected to act, deeply isolated me from my classmates. Whether that was intentional or not on Jehovah's Witnesses' part is kind of irrelevant. It still did irreparable damage to my social skills. This message is almost as disgusting as the anti-higher education message, in my opinion. Anyways, now it zips over to Sophia's temptation. This is where it ties into the newest episode. Check this out.
Now, Sophia, if you ace this test, you'll be number 1 in the whole class. Number 1 in the whole class.
You got this one? Yeah, here. Hey, Sophia, you want the answer?
This is what makes it propaganda. She's faced with a dilemma. The real dilemma being portrayed by Jehovah's Witnesses is that she's not supposed to want to succeed in school. Education is worthless to her. She's expected to marry a husband who will support her for the rest of her life, and the husband will do a job, not a career. No matter how miserable, no matter how little it pays, your life should center around Jehovah, nothing else. You shouldn't have any other hobbies or interests. They should be priority number 1. But they can't tell kids to fail in school. They'd get too much pushback. So they put her in an ethical dilemma that completely justifies her decision to fail in school. A disgusting message to children delivered in a palatable way. It goes on to draw this out even more. Watch the next clip.
Hey, Sophia, you want the answer?
And you too can have success. That's okay. No thanks.
Ignore the framing. Cheating is wrong no matter what, and that's something everybody can agree on. It was slipped in to make it more palatable to a broader audience. The message is that she decided not to succeed in school. They did the exact same thing with Caleb. The dilemma wasn't playing games, something everybody can agree is bad if your life centers around it. The dilemma was having friends outside of the religion. Games were just a propagandistic framing device. Caleb decided not to make friends at school, Sophia decided to fail the test, and angels cheer. Everybody's proud of them for wrecking their lives at a young age in the name of making Jehovah happy, even though the Bible doesn't say anything about failing in school. The governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses did. And even if the Bible did say that, it would still be grotesque and wrong. Before we continue, I wanted to mention something. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check me out on Teespring. I sell all kinds of shirts and mugs and stuff on there. Or you can check out my other YouTube channels. I have my Fireside Chat channel where I talk about the intersection between religion and politics. I have my Telltale Unfiltered channel where I watch sermons and do long-form breakdowns of religious extremists like Jehovah's Witnesses, Pastor Greg Locke, Mike Lindell, and others. Or you can check check out my Telltale Reads channel, where I read books by these types of people. Right now, we're reading Greg Locke's book, This Means War, We Will Not Surrender Through Silence. It gets absolutely nutty, so give those a watch if it sounds interesting. All links are in the description. Anyways, back to Jehovah's Witnesses. This is where it ties into the newest Caleb and Sophia video. The new one begins where this one left off. This is the last clip from the temptation video, and the first clip from the new one. Why obey God if we can't see him? Watch this last clip. She didn't even answer the question. She didn't even try. It was never about cheating or not cheating. It was about failing in school. And I think the fact that she left it blank makes that point for me. Their parents are so proud of them for refusing to pursue outside relationships and actively choosing to fail in school. Okay, now let's watch the newest one. Why obey God if we can't see him? Check it out.
So what happened after the math test?
He tried to give her the answer, but...
Hey, why didn't you take the answer?
Yeah, you could be the best in the class.
Some things are just more important.
Like what?
Like being honest.
Come on.
Sophia, if you did take the answers, who would know? Jehovah.
Again, they're trying to push the propagandistic framing to an ethical dilemma with an obvious answer that everybody can agree on, and in the process, pressuring kids to fail in school. But this is where the video really hits the main subject. Why obey God if you can't see him?
Why obey God if we can't even see him? Well, Dad, how can I show Zoe that Jehovah sees us?
Wait a minute, that wasn't the question. The question was, do you see Jehovah? The answer is no, you don't. Now, I don't believe in any of this. I'm an atheist, but for the sake of argument, I'll be addressing the video from the perspective of somebody who believes in God, but doesn't think he gets involved in people's day-to-day lives. At best, he created everything and then stepped away. I think that's obviously the best case scenario, considering all the suffering that happens in the world on a daily basis. Anyways, nice try, Jehovah's Witnesses, not slipping that little switch past me. Let's keep watching.
We don't see Jehovah, but how do you know he's there?
From the Bible. But Zoe just started learning.
True. Can you think of something from Jehovah she's already seen?
Creation. God is the one who made all these things. God made the heavens and the earth. He made people too. What are your favorite things that God made? Well, I love sunsets, fruit, playing with my dog, and my mom. Aw, Jehovah made those things because he loves you. Even though I can't see him, my favorite things remind me that Jehovah sees me. And that you always want to listen to him.
Every Caleb and Sophia video has a point. The first one we watched at the beginning of the episode was obviously about not playing with evil toys, and the subtle message behind it was to burn bridges in school so you can't have any friends.
Caleb, I am so proud of you. You made Mommy very happy. And you know who else is happy?
Jehovah.
Yes. Jehovah loves you very much for obeying him, Caleb.
The message behind the temptation one was to not make any friends or try to succeed in school. The secondary message was to not cheat or play video games. The primary message to the latest episode was that Jehovah watches everything you do, and you should be treating your school as a territory to be worked, like when you go door knocking to pass out magazines. In fact, Jehovah's Witnesses governing body has even publicly said that kids have access to people at school that adults might not be able to reach because they live in gated communities. You should be cramming the beliefs down people's throats. You want to have friends at school? Then you have to convert them. And the secondary message to the episode is that Jehovah watches every move you make. Everything you do. They're serious about this one too. When my sister was 12, she changed her clothes under the kitchen table because she didn't want Jehovah to see. They go out of their way to make it clear that Jehovah knows everything you do, and if you do something wrong, you will pay dearly for it. This is a destructive religion, and they release predatory, propagandistic messages that are designed for the most vulnerable people in society. Children. They are fully aware of it too. Remember when I mentioned Tony Morris earlier, governing body member? He's overseen some of the Caleb and Sophia stuff, and he had a message for families and children. Check this out.
The governing body deeply appreciates you hardworking parents and all that you're doing to try to help your children find a rich, satisfying life. Animated videos capture the interest of little ones and can be a powerful teaching tool. Children can learn so much during their formative years. The lessons they learn at a very young age can make an impression that lasts a lifetime. It is our prayer that this new series will help your children to learn to make God's heart rejoice. May they learn, develop, and grow to become Jehovah's friend.
They know what they're doing. They've always known. They are setting out to manipulate children at a young age with propaganda videos because, as he says, children are malleable. Get them young and you'll have them for life. Now, an outsider looks at what he just said and correctly identifies it as absolutely wrong, but Jehovah's Witnesses think it's great. That's because they implement a strategy in their everyday life called theocratic warfare, and ends justify the means mentality. Anything is justified. Lying, cheating, manipulating, whatever, as long as it's in service to the cause. It is a deeply disturbing headspace to be in. Unfortunately, the regular members just don't seem to see it for what it is. As long as they keep pumping these videos out, I'll keep debunking them. Anyways, that's all I've got for you. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check me out on Teespring. I sell all kinds of shirts and mugs and stuff on there. Or you can check out my other YouTube channels. I have my Fireside Chat channel where I talk about the intersection between religion and politics. I have my Telltale Unfiltered channel where I watch sermons and do long-form breakdowns of religious extremists like Jehovah's Witnesses, Pastor Greg Locke, Mike Lindell, and others. Or you can check out my Telltale Reads channel where I read books by these types of people. Right now, we're reading Greg Locke's book, This Means War, We Will Not Surrender Through Silence. It gets absolutely nutty, so give those a watch if it sounds interesting. All links are in the description. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.